What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Welcome to American Whiskey Month. It is July. Today is actually July 1st, which is Canada Day. So I'm doing an American whiskey, and the only reason it's called an American whiskey is because it's bottled in the United States. But there's two types of Canadian whiskey in this bottle, which is a little bit of a tribute. It is Canada Day. Happy Canada Day to those watching today. July 1st, we got Little Book Chapter 2. Alright, this one is a combination of 40-year-old Canadian whiskey, 13-year-old Canadian rye whiskey, and 8-year-old Kentucky straight rye whiskey. So, Booker's is the company behind this. We know that Little Book has 2 chapters so far. The first chapter I have not tasted myself. This one's called Chapter 2, No Simple Task. Of course, tribute to the founder, No, alright? N-O-E. Little Book, like I said, is consisted of 3 types of whiskey, alright? These are becoming pretty collectible. I think I got this for about $120 Canadian, which I think is a decent price. I think it was going between 80 and 120 American for the most part. I bought a backup bottle of this because I thought it was pretty cool that they used Canadian Club 40-year-old in it. They also used some Alberta 13-year-old straight rye in it, and then, well, not straight rye, but 100% rye. And then they also used some 8-year-old Kentucky straight rye. Really cool combination. I'm going to nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. So, this one is layered. It's got that 40-year-old corn whiskey sweetness. And if it's the 40-year-old corn whiskey sweetness from Canadian Club, like I said, which is not confirmed, it's just a guess based on the fact that it's the same company, CC, Booker's, Alberta Premium, they're all the same company. So because of that, that's very likely the CC 40-year-old corn whiskey that's in here. And if that's the case, then it's rye barrels that aged that corn whiskey. And what I mean by that is ex-rye barrels aging the 40-year-old corn whiskey. And then you have a whole bunch of rye in here as well. So it's a very, very nice combination. Super sweet on the nose. You get corn-like sweetness, but then you get the rye spices, which is really nice. Some like rye dough bread. Like various spices in here. I'm getting a little bit of like a tarragon note. Something minty or pepperminty. Maybe like a hint of cinnamon. Not much though. There's some caramel in there as well. Like brown sugars as well. Alright? This is bottled at 58.45%. So a nice cask strength whiskey, which is what we were all hoping the 40-year-old corn whiskey from CC would eventually come out as a cask strength whiskey. So they did that here. Obviously you're not getting only that 40-year-old, you're getting probably a good combination of all 3. And it says it's Freddie No's recipe number 29. So, or 029 at least. Okay, so on the palate, like a spicy butterscotch. Really, really nice notes of caramel on the back end. Warming notes of like a fudgy type note. There's like a maple syrupy oakiness. It's super mouth coating. The viscosity on this is awesome. So quick thing to note here is the 13-year-old Canadian rye is 100% rye, but the 8-year-old Kentucky straight rye is not necessarily 100% rye. It just has to be 51% rye in order to be called a straight rye. So we don't know exactly how much of that mash bill that went into this whiskey was 100% or was rye anyway. Man, the palate is the winner here. I haven't added a drop of water yet. I will just for the sake of the video, but after the first sip, you do not get any of those burning notes. It's mouth coating, it's syrupy, it's sweet, it's got that rye spice, rye bread, like pumpernickel bread almost, a buttery texture, and caramel finish. I'm glad I let this sit for a little while. I'm glad I waited to do this for American Whiskey Month. This one is awesome. This is definitely a big thumbs up to Canadian whiskey as well, because 2/3 of what's in here is Canadian whiskey, which is beautiful stuff. Great combination. Good on Bookers to combine these three whiskeys together because it was masterfully done. I really, really like this. Okay, so with some water, there's a nice floral note that kicks in. It's a little less spicy. You get a little bit of that brown sugar plus like a lavender scent. Back on the palate. So a little bit of water to add like a different texture to this, a little bit of a different element, but I will say that I like this at cast strength. I think I like it a little bit more at cast strength. You kind of lose a little bit of the sweetness and the texture when adding water. But it's nice stuff overall. Still warming, still flavorful. You still get that caramel. It's not as bready as it once was. It's not as rye forward as it once was without water. But this stuff would work really, really nice in a cocktail. I know it's kind of blasphemy to drop a $100 whiskey in a cocktail, but I honestly think that like a good old fashioned would be amped up with this stuff right here. It's actually starting to get a little bit better as the water probably dilutes into the whiskey, or the whiskey dilutes with that water, and it kind of spreads throughout. Overall, really nice stuff. I'm going to give this one an 88. I think it's really good. I would definitely buy this again. I think they did a really, really nice job with it. I'm a big rye guy. You guys are going to notice that this month. I love my straight ryes from the US. I think this was masterfully done. I think it's an example of what Canadian whiskey can be if they start to use Canadian whiskey the right way. Bottling at cast strength. Doing certain things to make sure that the whiskey speaks for itself. All right. There are some great expressions out there. Stuff is getting better in the Canadian whiskey world. This is obviously mixed with some American whiskey, but predominantly Canadian whiskey, and I think that's really, really good stuff. So I'm going to give that an 88. Alright guys, that's it for now. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video and you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you get the notifications for the rest of this month at least, because we're going to be doing a bunch of American whiskeys this month. I have some really cool stuff lined up. I have this beautiful George T. Stagg that I opened the other day, which will be my 400th review. Kind of like a redemption video, because I reviewed George T. Stagg way back when I first started the channel, and I kind of butchered it in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree if they've watched it. So it's time to redeem that, and what better time to do it than on a milestone video like 400. Stay tuned this month. If you like American whiskey, if you like bourbon, this is the channel to get all that information. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right? Cheers.